Hello, my name is Percival Plott, and welcome to the Naval Sports League. For our first time watchers, the Naval Sports League, or the NSL, is the ultimate naval competition in the game of Holdfast Nations at War. League battles are simple. Two teams, each led by a single admiral, pilot five large capital ships and two small support boats with the goal of sinking as many capital ships as they can within 35 minutes. Whoever sinks the most wins, and if there is a tie, we decide the winner by overall score. Teams consist of anywhere between 20 to 40 players, and the league provides mercenaries to balance out any number disparities between the teams. Every player in the league, be they a team player or a mercenary, is competing hard for end of season awards and accolades. Every battle will take place on a randomly chosen map with randomly chosen wind directions. Both of these factors means that no two battles will ever be the same. The league lasts for 9 months from late February to November, with 3 games a month for you to enjoy. Once that main season is over, the top 3 teams of the league will duke it out to determine who wins the champion's crown. The NSL is a collection of Holdfast's most talented admirals, officers, and crews, and the tactical gameplay you see here is a higher level than anything else this game has to offer. We hosts and co-hosts will be here for the entirety of the battle to help you understand the decisions and strategies you'll see play out in the NSL Coliseum. So, without further ado, let's get into the pre-game coverage. Today, I am joined by a fellow admiral, a lovely friend of mine, and a member of the most esteemed Royal Marines. It is the one and only Carons. How you doing today, pal? Are you well?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that introduction. Very nice, Percy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I
I'm
do
well.
appreciate it. So let's go to the league standings because we had a bit of a we had our match last week, didn't we? And it's had a
We
little bit
did.
of a shake up. It's had a bit of a turn up on how the actual thing is looking today. This makes this match quite important today. So obviously we are
Yeah.
having a match today of the Leviathans and the SCP. But our match last week from the Krakens from my team versus your Marines managed to let us slightly pip the SCP today in back to second place with a 7-2 versus a 6-2 for them. So it's vital today that they need to get both a win and points to try and climb back up into the league. Talk about yourself. How is it fitting for you? How is the league shaping up for you at this sort of closure of the season today?
Well, as we come to the end of the season, we're in a bit of a difficult place, being dropped last. But of course, there's still opportunity, and we look forward to our next games. But I'm glad to see that we were able to help the Kraken team hoist themselves above the SCP-38. It's been a great ride, to be honest. I'm definitely looking forward to next season.
I will say as well that it's not all doom and gloom. That even if the SCP do not get a result that they want here today, they do have a chance to still try and claw that back, as we do face them as the Krakens at the very last, sort of the apex of the season, in the very last match of the team play before the tournament. So it's not all doom and gloom, hopefully yet
No,
for them. But I would like to make sure that the Leviathans today do put them in a position that makes it quite, let's say, untenable for them to try and challenge us for the rest of it. So, let's move to the leaderboard, shall we? Let's have a look at how that's looking and
let's
shaping
see.
up. Do you want to take it away, Karen? You go ahead. How's it looking on the leaderboard for you this week?
Well, obviously the Leviathans are doing great with their 8-1 record. They've got a great points advantage, and thanks to last week's game, the Krakens have moved up to second place. Shortly followed by the SCP-38. They're in third place, and then the Jackals are in fourth. The Royal Black Fleet, who are our competitors next week, in fifth, and then last is the Marines. So overall, great season for all teams. A lot of learning done by my team in particular, and yeah, good collection of teams in general. It's exciting to see this battle today.
I know, and I think from looking at it from the league standings, if we transition to the player leaderboard here, you'll see that
Yeah,
although we struggle, was it teams always have their, everyone's sort of reps a flag and dons that banner. There are also individual accolades that are also to be fought for throughout the season, regardless if you're at the top or at the bottom. And as I say, the leaderboard is still firmly stacked with those pesky SCP team players. I mean, Spicy Paper is still up there at the top. You've got Dan Franklin, new guy on the block, still sitting there in third. I bet he's wishing he had a 50 gun for this sometimes because I've heard he's a very legendary reputation for that one. What are you thinking, Karen? How is the player leaderboard stacking up? It's been like this for a good couple of weeks now, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's obviously they're great players, and there's a reason they're in the top five on the leaderboard. Generally, they will try and maintain their position, get as many points on the leaderboard as they can per match. But overall, I'm really impressed with the SCP-38's commitment, not just in their own games, but also as mercenaries as well. Uh, it definitely shakes the teams up when you get an SCP-38 player on your squad as a merc. And yeah, it's a bit devastating for Daniel Franklin. I'm sure he wants to be take that second or first place slot. There's still opportunity though. Still a few more games left this season, even as a merc.
Absolutely. And just looking at it, I mean, it's close at the top. There's about there's about 223 average score between Spicy and McCandless from my own team. You've got Dan Franklin there, who's closing in on just about 100 score average away against McCandless. Shadow is still, he's within reach of Dan if he manages to get a few more games in. And obviously, you just see Bobby there, who is sort of, he's at the back of the top five, but that's still no mean feat. There is not much room if these guys manage to get some really high scoring games. And I think today
Yeah,
we know there is going to be a bit of a one. So if we move to the side by side now, obviously we've got the Marines and we've got the Krakens today, both led by very good admirals. From the SCP side alone, you've got Muffin Top, who had a bit of a transitioning season from being their most, staunch, 13 gun captain now to being a sort of an overhead admiral that guides the main strategy of the fleet, and
yeah,
allowing someone like Mika coming in to take over on the 13. They have brought a really, really sort of strong presence, I think, to this SCP team that by no means was struggling early on in the season. They weren't struggling at all by a lot of teams, but they've sort of started to kick those wheels in, those cogs starting to turn towards the later game of the season. And as we saw just a couple of weeks ago, Karen's, you're probably watching it alongside me somewhere in the in the ether where the result went the other way, for against the reigning team here, the Leviathans, where the SCP managed to get that's I don't want to say a scalp because it was a well fought victory.
it
Against the
was.
Leviathans. So, talk me through it. How do you think that the Leviathans are going to shape up today? What's going to be their what do you think is going to be how they're going to do against the SCP in the side by side?
Well, I think that the last game was a little bit of a I'm gonna say wake up call, as in there is teams out there that I want their heads. You can't be top forever, but at the same time, Lemerck is a very versatile captain and admiral. I think that he's probably made a lot of changes to the fleet composition in preparation for this battle today, and I think that if anything, this is going to be a harder match for the SCP-38. They have some great captains. Both sides have some fantastic captains, and this is really one of those battles that a lot of people are probably looking forward to watching. They want to see, me myself, I want to see Leviathans retake that victory, and but I also love how much euphemism that the SCP-38 have. They're very much at the start were the underdogs, and now they're proving to be a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, it's great.
If we just look at, for example, on the SCP side, the season record's gone pretty well for them. They've got 6 wins, 2 losses. The all-time matchup, they hadn't played at all this season. They got the 1-0 victory. So really,
Yeah,
if you look at this might be the first match that we've seen the Leviathans perhaps. I'm not saying it's going to be, the Leviathans are still a very strong team, but they might be on the back foot for once. And when you've got players like Spicy Paper, Dan Franklin, and Bobby, they're the top players. They're in the top three of the entire, well, not top three, but in the top five of the league. Those are holding 3 spots in that top five. Those are not, average scores to be shying away from whatsoever. And I'll say just from some sort of note that I've been noticing when I've been practicing and stuff like that. Axolotl here has been one of their sort of gunboat captains and just general outstanding players for the SCP so far. And those players have been really forming a really strong core to allow Muffin Top and the rest of that SCP team to sort of form around. And I think that's what gives them. They've got a very good core strength with that sort of intuitive strategy built in by Muffin Top, and they sort of plan for every occasion and every eventuality in a match. It's hard to root for sometimes unless there's like a
Yeah.
lapse. But yeah, sure. So we're going to move now towards the map preview. I'd love to get in more to the Leviathan side here, so we're probably spin it in as we go along. But we know coming into the map here, we are playing on an island on a map that looks pretty awkward. This is what we were potentially playing on last week. Kieran's. This is what map we
Yeah.
were going to be playing on, wasn't it? So I can tell you now personally that being from where Leviathans are spawning, it's not. I wasn't happy to do it. I was. It was a really painful one for me when I was trying to plan this out because the wind is not the easiest. Although it's a neutral wind, you have so little room to maneuver in that initial part for the Leviathans over there. Whereas
Yeah.
I bet you are going to be really happy from where the SCP are spawning in today. Um, you have a lot more room to maneuver. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I would prefer to be on the SCP-38 side. That big landmass that Leviathans have to navigate around, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. But at the same time, the smaller islands don't really give you give you much protection. But it does allow that maneuverability that they want, of course. So the neutral wind is going to be very fun, though. A southern wind, it's going to be a nice thing to watch for. I'm interested to see how the captains are going to adapt to that neutral wind and what plans they've got in store for us.
Exactly. Now, if I was, looking at this map here and I was thinking about how in total we were going to take this, from my side of view, if I'm the Leviathan spawning in here, or on the French side, who are on the left side here, as you can see, they've got that really, really awkward landmass right in front of them. It looks like the spawn has been blessed for them here. They have the opportunity to maneuver a bit more. I know sometimes it can be a little bit awkward when you're pressed very close to that front island there. Um, they've got a little bit of room to maneuver. And the wind is, if we're looking at it from a perspective, it's a neutral wind, so going forwards is not a pain for them, except for the islands are in the way. So you kind of have to tilt a little bit to decide which side you want to go out from or something like that. The SCP have a lot more room to maneuver, but if Leviathans want to turtle, it's going to be difficult for them.
Yeah.
Um, how are you looking at this match? What do you think are going to be the key areas of engagement? I think the middle is going to be quite important for me, but talk to me. What are you thinking in regards to the tactics for it's going to be employed by each side?
Well, do you know what? I'll take this as perspective of if I was playing the SCP-38 right now. I would go against the wind, take it right around the island chains, and then try and look for a point of contact in the middle, as you said.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure if the Leviathans will just will want to get straight underway and get their fleet towards the wind, start moving really quickly towards the enemy. I know that they're there for a fight, and they're gonna take that fight to the SCP-38.
I
I
agree.
wonder if they'll do play a little bit more defensively this game, the SCP-38.
Um, I don't know. I think they're gonna give. I think both teams are gonna give this one a very big shout. I do want to just have a look at. I don't know if you can have a look for me there, Kieran. Could you tell me what are we looking at in the small boat situation as well? Because I think that was a big part in the component in the last match. We saw last
Absolutely.
time that we had from the SCP. They really wanted to dominate these small little like skirmish battles versus the Leviathans. They did a really good job at shutting down what I think most people would argue is the Leviathans one of the Leviathans' biggest strength is their gunboat crews. They're well drilled, they're very
Yeah.
good, they know how to work together, and we saw that the SCP really brought a pain to that in their last match, and that kind of gave a good advantage to them in that sort of sense. What are we looking at? How are we looking in terms of those small boats? What are we seeing on either side?
Yeah. Well, as you would expect, we've got a strong crew for the SCP-38. We have the infamous Axolotl ready and standing by on his gun. And as you said, I think the gunboats cannot be overlooked at all, or the rocket boats, because they can often deliver more damage than any of the larger vessels on the battlefield. So I'm going to keep my eye out on the gunboats, see what type of tactic they're going to play. It would be nice to see some boat on ship action in this, but I imagine there's going to be a bit of a boat skirmish somewhere. Um,
Just
so
to
yes,
to interrupt this, sorry, slightly. Looks like both teams are going downwind. They want to take this battle. The Leviathans have to take it a little bit more heavier in regards to going outwards here. They're sort of heading down in the southerly direction, meaning they have the most speed that they want.
yeah.
So that's good. And it looks like the SCP has sort of given into that to get a little bit extra speed, but they want to take central positions on the map, it looks like. I thought I saw from the SCP, I don't know if you can confirm it for me, they have at least one rocket boat out, like they did last match. Did they have a gunboat accompanying it?
They
Um,
do have a rocket boat and a gunboat. That's their
Interesting.
primary boat
And
composition
how
right
we're
now.
looking on the Leviathans, are they going with double gunboat? Are they running with a similar gunboat rocket boat? What are we looking at from them?
They are utilizing both gunboats for this initial engagement.
So it is a run back, it looks like. It looks like both teams are going with strategy, but I am noticing here, if you have a look, just on the right side here on our scene, the SCP are forming line abreast, which means all the ships are going in a straight line and they are willing to turn any direction to make sure this works. They've got their gunboats out wide, hopefully trying to the gunboats and rocket boats, sorry, to hide in these sort of islands up ahead, so they're not going to
Yeah.
get pressured or endangered, while the Leviathans are coming at them with a firm line, with their 13 gun at the rear, all 8 guns right ahead. Tell me about it. What do you think the Leviathans are thinking here with that? Because I still haven't seen their boats yet. Karens, talk to me. What are you thinking?
Well, as we would expect, the Leviathans have formed up very quickly. They're ready in their battle line, and they're ready to get this battle underway. The SCP-38 are moving towards the northwest position now, so I believe they're going to go against the wind and maybe get a point of contact towards the main island with the
Mm.
lighthouse. But they have the Leviathans have their boats right next to their fleet, so they're providing overwatch right now for their fleet. And the SCP-38 have their boats sort of on one of the island chains, ready to pounce.
The interesting thing I see here is that both teams want this middle ground. The Leviathans have got their big ship, the 13 gun, back of the line, out of harm's way. SCP are putting it right in the middle, and they have got, essentially, if they wanted to, they could turn to starboard here, really force the Leviathans into a T scenario. T could be crossed. That means they can't really fire back. But it looks like they're coming in. They want to have a close contact right now. It's going to be all the 8 guns taking up the pressure with the 13 at the back.
Yeah,
I'm thinking here they might be looking to take the downward wind here, come into the island passage here, the 3 trio islands that we've got down here. Whereas the SCP have got a very weird lineup here. Are they trying to come upwards and in behind, forcing the Leviathans to sort of face a battle behind them? I'm intrigued.
yeah, it does look that way. I I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if the SCP-38 decided to go all the way around the islands and try and engage them from the rear. Although I do think the Leviathans would sort of foresee that happening anyway, and they will adapt accordingly. But
How
there
they
is
already
some
see it.
engagements going on right now, Percy. One of the main, the Vanguard vessel for the Leviathans is taking heavy shots right now, and they're also trying to
Interesting.
deliver blows to the 13 gun as well.
We are seeing the sort of the Leviathans having a very strong line here. It makes it very hard for the SCP to aggress on them here. They've got that central island as the backstop. If you want to break
Yeah,
through, you've got two choices. You've got either you've got either the whole aspect of trying to come through those lines, come through into the fire of that 13 gun, which no one will want to do, or you can sit back where you are currently and try and make sure that you can take on that front ship that you were speaking about earlier that's taking on that heavy fire.
yeah.
Um,
You're right. I think the Leviathans are intentionally targeting the enemy 13 gun. The SCP-38 are doing a great job at keeping the Leviathans fleet as separated as they can, charging their 8 guns forward towards that main central island mass. It does make things more difficult, and it does sort of put a bit of a vulnerability on the Leviathans battle line. They've got to adjust very quickly and figure out which ships they want to prioritize in this engagement.
How's the health looking? If we're looking at the overall health so far, it's probably just chip damage, right? It's all at distance. None of it's in good sort of close proximity to each other. We do see right now that the SCP have formed a nice concave battle line, which means every ship on their own can turn in to take angle and fire wherever they want. And it looks like I think that lead ship is probably taking a bit of a pounding and is
It
starting to
absolutely
peel away.
has.
So
Yeah,
it's
you're
not.
right.
Go on, sorry.
No, sorry. The 8 gun is about to go down the Vanguard vessel if it takes any more hits. The SCP-38's 13 gun is really struggling at the moment. It's down to a quarter health. And we might see a little trade-off here with the 8 gun and the 13 gun. And I'd be asking myself, if I was the SCP-38, what would I rather lose, an 8 gun or a 13 gun?
If it was me, I want to keep my 13 gun. That is a ship that you want staggered out of the line, and Leviathans are showing us perfectly that all the threat here right now is being taken by those 8 guns. It's a lot harder to hit that 13 gun when you've got those ships in the way acting as a blockade.
That's the
Any shots
13
that are
gun
going
sunk
low
there.
there, wow,
Yeah,
that's a really, really big early loss. The crews, the gun crews of these teams are second to none. And losing the 13 gun and taking and keeping their 8 gun already, that's a big, big victory. I see cannon explosions on that front SCP ship.
yeah.
What scenario wise, how is this looking for you? If you see this, what's your strategy?
It's a huge loss losing the 13 gun early. I had the same issue with the last game. We lost our 13 gun very early, and the same has happened for the SCP-38. Somehow, the Leviathan's Vanguard 8 gun has survived through all of that, and they've managed to turn their guns to starboard side as well, which is great because they lost a few portside cannons. So they've really outdone themselves there with maintaining the the use of their 8 gun. It's great to see, and it's looking like one of the SCP-38's 8 guns is now at half health. So it's shaking down to be a great start for the Leviathans. Let's see if they can continue this small victory.
And you're seeing now that the SCP are really starting to spread themselves out. They don't want to get all their fire focused in this scenario. It looks like they're trying to get behind Leviathans here, but they're still leaving big gaps. That's leaving half their fleet exposed and the whole combined fleet, except for that maybe lone ship that we were talking about earlier, that I think the SCP are wanting to go and kill. Everything else from Leviathans is now being concentrated, focused on killing either the back fleet or circling around now to take the next engagement. And it looks like 2 of those ships are making that turn, and the other's going to hold the back as sort of as a backstop, as a rear guard. And that front ship that was taking that damage has gone to cover the rear of the fleet here. This is really meticulous work, and those Leviathan's
It
gunboats
is.
are also coming to support it as well. If you can see there, just in the way. This is meticulous play today. They are not taking prisoners.
No, it's great. I do fear how long that the Vanguard 8 gun of the Leviathans is going to stay afloat, just while it's got barely any health on it right now. But they can deliver some good blows before they go down, and I'm sure that's the whole intention right now.
Well,
I think the Leviathans should try and reform their battle line, get back into the fight, and really pour some round shot on the enemy.
but, I mean, if you look at it, the SCP have already been slightly neutered. The biggest thing that they have is a 13 gun. It's the biggest ship that puts outposts the most damage. It's not there. It's gone. So you now have to look at, okay, we now have 2 ships coming in. We can probably take out the ship that was about to die anyway. That's 1 8 gun gone in trade.
Yeah,
How can we trade? How can we gain more advantage here? They've brought in the rocket boat. They've brought in the gunboat. It doesn't look like they're going to focus too much on that rear ship. It might be that we're going to see now the gunboat trade. You see the Leviathans, they're already close together, they know what they're doing, the rocket
Yeah.
boat's coming in. Has that rocket boat got a load of carpenters on it? Or is it a very sort of minimal crew on there? Can you talk to me about that there, Jules?
That initial rocket boat of the SCP-38 is stacked with players ready. It seems like they do have a bunch of carpenters, and if that gets close to anything, they're gonna do some damage.
And they are going
Um,
straight in. They're charging those gunboats there from the Leviathans. How many are gonna survive? That's the question here.
Yeah, I think the SCP-38 are a really well composed team, though. I think Muffin Top Scout is probably maybe a little bit worried, but I'm sure he knows there's still a play to be had here, and it's not completely all
No.
bad news for them. There's still an opportunity here.
These 8 guns are coming in, but they are taking a heavy fire. That 13 gun from the Leviathans is causing havoc. Those gunboats from the Leviathans are also pulling away. They don't want that rocket boat getting in close. And they've got that sniping boat, that gunboat of support coming in to try and deal with them. They're trying to get those
Yeah,
carpenters on, but as we can still see, this is shaping up to be quite a battle here. The 8 guns are coming in now. The second ship is getting the most fire. They know the first one's already been damaged. They know it's been hurt already. They're now taking out cannons ruthlessly on the second one
yeah,
here. This is Armageddon. The back 2 ships are trying to come in. Are they trying to deal with the support vessels here? Are they trying to cut in behind? I'm a little bit lost here, Karens. Explain it to me. What am I seeing? What's the thinking you think coming in here now? Are they trying to just focus on these back ships, leave the Leviathans and the 13 out of it for the moment, just try and focus and consolidate cannons and fire into the rear ships here and cause an upset? What are we thinking?
yeah. Well, obviously, having that 8 gun have its T crossed by the entire, well, what seems like the entire Leviathan's fleet wasn't a great idea. But that it might have just been a way to preserve the lives of the other 8 guns. They are in a position now to start turning around, getting some shots down on some of the 8 guns that are falling behind a little bit. But there's still 3 strong 8 guns and 2 strong 8 guns and a 13 gun still in a good battle line, and still pouring round shots on the enemy. I'm not sure what the thinking was behind the two 8 guns just charging straight through the fleet there.
That's the two
Maybe
eight
it was
guns
a
gone,
little
hasn't
bit
it?
of a heroic last stand by the SCP-38. Maybe. What do you think?
I mean, if the ships are low, you either have to try and take them out, which I don't think the scenario was here. So you just want to try and get them in and cause some problems. You want to see if you can
Yeah,
get the extra score back through boarding actions. You want to try and, try and disrupt as much as we can. As we can see here, the rocket boats are coming in. They're trying to focus on this rear ship. Those rear 8 guns from the SCP, now the majority of their fleet in this instance with that rocket boat, trying to cause some havoc. How is the gunboat battle going up to the other side? Are those gunboats from the SCP doing? What's a gunboat from the SCP doing? Working against Leviathans? Are they struggling? Talk to me.
yeah. That rocket boat really needs to close the distance on one of the 8 guns. If they can get that crew on board one of the Leviathan ships, I'm not sure how long the mass will last. It's still packed with carpenters, and it's looking really good for that rocket boat in particular. And we have some other boats that are sort of slowly trying to work their way back into the battlefield. One of the SCP-38s, again stacked with crew, Percy. So I think the main play here has been on behalf of the boats, trying to get them close to one of the 8 guns or the 13 gun and just see how much damage they can do.
The
I'm
interesting thing that we're seeing here as well, Kieran, is look at this line from Leviathans. That rear ship is
Yeah,
now taking the full focus fire, and everyone else is holding at a distance, letting them get into a position where they have the opportunity to come in past that island, regain the wind, come south again, and really sort of move to attack the
yeah,
SCP here. The SCP look like they're being pushed against the wall in an instant. To be honest, it's not nice at all here. Um, but
no,
I see the gunboat's coming back in now. This is the rocket boat is coming in. It's trying to do its
it
best. The
is.
focus fire is going on here, but wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a great boarding action if they do manage to get on board. I think. right now the Leviathans can bide their time, reform their initial battle line, and start closing the distance on the other remaining 8 guns. There's two 8 guns left for the SCP-38, while the Leviathans have three strong 8 guns as well as their 13 gun. So what I want to ask Percy is, do you think that the SCP-38 still have the chance to take out one of the Leviathan's 8 guns, or do you think that they're gonna succumb to the ocean?
I think it's going to be if there is a low health ship. It's, they have the crews. We know that. We know they've probably. It
Yeah,
depends on if they've got the cannons left. I just say that one's just gone on that rear ship there
yeah,
alone.
fantastic
That
shot by Shadow. That
Yeah,
fantastic.
the Leviathans are holding that rearguard ship's been holding. It's been taking so much damage. I can see here just a minute ago that the rocket boat's coming back into the battle versus those Leviathans gunboat. It's causing a lot of issues here, and they've got a ship from the Leviathan just sailing head on inwards here. It is absolutely just carnage. They're going to try and cross the line here, it looks like. Try and get behind the SCP. Have the two ships there at the moment. Make it so they can't get close to the 13 gun. That 13 gun is just going to cause absolute havoc with those broadside cannons. We always know it's to be true. In any game when there's a 13. If it lives to the late game and you don't have yours left, it always comes down to how many cannons has it got. If it's got a full
Exactly.
complement, which I don't know if it has or not, but the fire that I've been seeing coming from them has been exciting. It's gonna be one of those ones that you've got to try and just stay out of its range as much as you can. I
Yeah,
think we've just seen. Oh, go on. Sorry,
sorry,
no.
I just wanted to confirm on the starboard side of that 13 gun, they have almost every cannon operational besides the one. So, that's a good amount of cannons on the starboard side of a ship. I'd be happy with that, completely happy.
And if I'm just not mistaken, I've just seen the SCP's rocket boat that just came in on a respawn, just not fail, but has failed to take on these Leviathans gunboats. These have been menaces today, making sure that those small boats are not getting involved. We've just seen a
Yeah,
demasting coming in, I believe, on one of the. Is that a Leviathan's boat there? Has that just come in?
that is correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they've just
Leviathan
been
ship just
demasted.
there.
But
Yeah,
But they are still afloat, and which is, that's the aim of the game. Can you keep your
slow them
ship
down.
afloat? Can you sink the enemy? And the SCP-38 have just lost an 8 gun, and they are currently trailing with one more 8 gun. The Leviathans are in a fantastic position here. I wonder, will Lemerck, before the SCP-38's 8 gun does go down, will he deliver the all famous all fleet broadside? That'd be a spectacle, to be honest.
That would be interesting. Okay, let's
Uh,
just talk about this match from we've seen how it's gone today. Let's talk about this match from a perspective. We've seen the SCP have something to prove this season. They've come in,
yeah,
they took the first, to first blood off these guys. You know, they're coming in now. Leviathans have gone away. They've done their homework, and they've made sure today that people they're putting down their foot here on the league to make sure they have that understatement of come at us if
yeah.
you dare. What would you looking at this today? What are you thinking that people need to be looking at coming forward to face the Leviathans here? Because this was a masterclass in just having strong positioning, strong gunnery, strong focus fire discipline. Because that 13 gun was probably one of the quickest I've seen go down this season. I
Yeah.
feel like
No, you're right. The SCP, it's like a team that has brought in some great players from lots of smaller regiments, and they've said, look, we might be a team made up of a coalition of regiments, but we can still maintain our hand on the leaderboard, and they've done that. They won their previous battle with the Leviathans, but I do think it's a case of you prod and poke the bear, and he will bite. And the Leviathans are showing here. They will always be a force to be reckoned with here.
it looks like there is a boarding action coming towards the front of the SCP-13 here. Also, not the SCP-13, the Leviathan's 13 there, sorry. I don't know if there's any people left on that. It looks like there's a lot of shots being coming in from the supporting 8-gun vessel, while that demasted 8-gun and that other 8-gun look to jostle this other SCP-13 at the wall and make sure it doesn't... Even the gunboat's getting in the action here. They don't want this to live. They want to make sure
They
this is
have
a...
they have one more cannon left on their 8-gun Percy on that
Oof.
that remaining 8-gun vessel. I'm not sure how much damage you can do with one cannon, but it's a lot less cannons than the Leviathans have right now. Their 13 gun is pouring down round shots from afar right now, and they are with pinpoint accuracy. Um, that's I think a lot of team and captains and gunners will definitely struggle at that range to hit those shots, but they're landing almost every shot. They're doing fantastic work, and that is the very last cannon gone, I believe, on the 8-gun.
Scores
But
now, it is looking crazy for Leviathans here. I don't think there's
they
a single
they've sort of
mercenary in that
boxed them
top
in.
list. There is not a mercenary on the Leviathans team there that is high. And as you can see,
Yeah,
yeah, they are completely boxed in. They are surrounded on all sides. It is. This is unfortunate.
yeah,
Shadow's up there in score. Killam, Lemerc. We all know it's going to be there. Shadow is making his statement to stay, sort of that fourth, maybe pushing into third for that top place. He was one of our ones to watch for this week for the Leviathans, along with
he
Icy,
was.
Paxis, Public Dickens. We all know they've got exceptional players. And as I say, there's not a Merc that's got anywhere near close to the score on the Leviathan side here today to fight from their side. It's been a homegrown victory, one might say, there in that instance
Yeah,
for them. And it's this is they're holding back here. They're just using the first two ships. It looks like the SCP are trying to get in now just to try and cause some havoc. They've got the gunboats here at the rear of one of these islands, trying to just get some shots from afar, try and see if they can snipe out that ship with the demasted health there. Make sure it's
yeah.
got no health left. But
That
that's it
that
there.
is
That's
that's
the
all she wrote.
victory.
That
What a game. Let's have a look at the
yeah.
score here. That is 20k. That's an unfortunate one here today for the SCP. Leviathan's really showing Shadow there with 1900 score at the end. He's making his statement. Leviathans are making their statement here today. Okay, so if we're looking at taking this match, into sort of perspective, we will have the Admiral shortly in here, hopefully to have a conversation today.
Yeah,
What do the SCP need to do? Because obviously they have a match. They have one match left for the season. This means they have to face my team here. So I can't. I'm not really going to comment anything here. This is going to be sort of down to your analysis here. What do they have to do to not only face us for the next match, but then look to take the tournament? Because we've got the tournament coming up soon towards the end of the season here. How
yeah.
do they go and take it from this match here? Because this was a tough match
It
coming
was,
into it.
and I wouldn't. If I was the SCP-38, I wouldn't say that this should in any way not align with their abilities, even for the rest of the season. I think that it will still be a tough match for the Krakens, and when you go head to head against the best team in the season, you're not always going to have that opportunity to win. I think there's still an opportunity to you know, s- maybe not retake second, but secure their third place and make sure their points they can get the mercenaries on the leaderboard. And yeah, I mean, as you said, you can't really comment because you're going against them. But what do you think then for your match? Do you think that has this match in any way sort of shaken your thoughts, or has it sort of put your mind at ease about the next match with them?
I don't think it's shaken anything. I know that on any day in this league, we are going to have a tough match. Anyone can beat anyone. That's my motto. I don't think any team is going to struggle, taking a victory here. I think looking at, the match we saw today, I think we saw not the SCP having a bad day. I think Leviathan's having a very good day. Leviathans, they've had a very good season. They're very strong in all areas of the game. We all know this. They're very technically, in terms of how they captain, they stuck together. They
Yeah,
spread out quite a bit today, which I thought interesting. They made a lot of space for themselves to really surround what was left of the fleet and make sure it didn't really have any chance to get the final edge on points, which I think is a very interesting thing to see moving forwards.
yeah,
Um, and I think from the SCP side. I just don't think it went their way today. It was one of those ones where the plan was good. I just think we saw accelerated gunning. We know that the guns in the top three teams, the top, even the whole league, the gunnery is exceptional from across it. But the top three teams have this. I don't know. They have players that dedicate themselves just to it. You know what I mean? They don't have people that just do this and that and the other. We have people that just look at it and go, gunnery, that's my thing, and I want to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And as we saw today, that's probably what they faced. And as you were saying, where you're having artillery shots from 500 plus meters coming into your 8 gun, hitting with accelerate, with accurate, proficiency as we did today, you've got to be worried.
Oh
If
yeah.
that's my perspective on it, I suppose. But do we
Yeah.
have the admirals? Is that the question? Let's
We
have a
do.
look.
We do. They've joined in. We have here with us today our Victor Lemerck. Um, Percy, you want to take over me?
Sure. So, welcome, Lemerck. How does that feel? Obviously, we saw last time you had a match against these guys that didn't go your way. It was one of those where it was a match where you felt you had something to go away with your team, work on, and come back. You've had the 2 weeks or however long it was, I can't quite remember, 2, 3 weeks to go away and do that. How has that preparation gone into the match for today?
Has it really only been 2 weeks? It feels like it's been a year since the last battle. I feel like I've like bathed into the River Jordan. I've fucking climbed the ziggurat. I've fallen on my knees and begged the god of war, "Why did you forsake me?" And then I got my answer. And the answer I think was listen to the voice of your enemies, and that's what I heard. And I remember, last time we were here, Muffin said to me, come into the range of my cannons and you will learn. And I guess what I'm here to say is you probably should have wished for something else, because I did. I learned a lot in these
Uh,
last few weeks.
Wonderful. Well, I will just say quickly on that, Muffin. Do you have any words that you want to say just while we're here? We're going to break up it in a little bit. We'll come back to them, but anything you want to say straight away in response to that? What's the words coming in from this one? What do you feel you've learned from today, if anything?
That even getting to within range, we'll get you next time.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, you do have that opportunity. There is still the tournament at the end of the season, so we are excited to see how that's going to end up. I suppose, Lamerck, you've come into this match today. Obviously, well, I think you wanted to prove something. I don't think it's necessarily just to the SCP, but I think it's the league as a whole. What would be that message, coming into this tournament towards the preseason? Because you're going to sit back and you're going to watch me, second place versus Muffin, third place at the moment, jockeying for the final match of the season. You get to be in the position I've been in for these last 2 matches to
From you guys, from all of you, everything that I can learn about who you are right now. Because I think, where did the hubris come in that caused us such a loss last game for the SCP? A great team, by the way, whose praises I have sung from very early on in the NSL. But it was the hubris of thinking that you're fighting yesterday's opponent. But today we came here ready to fight an opponent who defeated us. And it changed everything in our perspectives. And so what we're going to be watching from you guys is I want that snapshot of who you are at the exact moment before we face you. Right, whoever it is that we face in the finals, and really, it could be anybody at this point. The Krakens, this SCP, you guys are such phenomenal teams, and so I want to make sure that I know exactly who my enemy is going to be in the finals.
I like it. And I suppose today, Lemert, you've come in with I guess I wouldn't say maybe not a formula, but you've come in today with, what did you guys train? I suppose don't have to go into specifics or details, but what was it you felt from your last game that was different that you had to alter coming into this match here today? Because there was clearly something.
Oh yeah, it was our discipline. It was our discipline. We have. I'll be honest. In every other battle this entire season, the amount of our training has been 1 hour of warm-ups before the battle. Nothing else. Just events, going to events basically. We trained, I think, 2 or 3 times. I had captain's trainings, we had gunnery trainings. So we had to face the mirror and look at ourselves and say, are we still the the people that most people in naval would consider the best? Are we still these people anymore? Or did this loss herald a new era? And I want to say about that, because I spoke about this last time on the stream. A new era is coming, whether we like it or not. These are some of the very last battles of Holdfast as we know it today. AGS is creating a beautiful new expansion for us. It's going to have so many different things I don't even know about. I know a lot, but I don't even know everything that we're going to get. But it's going to change naval forever. And that era that's coming, I can't say that I'm going to be number 1, or that my people are going to be number 1, or that we even deserve it at that point, because we're all going to have to start from scratch. And what we're seeing today in the Krakens and the SCP, we're seeing these guys rise up and get ready for that moment. But what we had to answer for ourselves today and tell the entire naval community is that you are still in our era. This is the era that that people like the incredible deck officers and captains that I have pioneered the tactics of this era. And we intend to defend it in the finals, this ownership over this moment. And the next one, I don't know. But this one, that's what we came here today to prove. And that's what we'll try and prove in the finals as well, best we can.
Do you have anything you'd like to ask Lemeric while we're here? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what an incredible speech. Well done, Lemerck. Um, I felt like a pep talk to the whole NSL then. Literal chills. But it was great to see. I do have a question for Lemerck. It seemed like everything that happened during the game today was by design. Even the position of the gunboats throughout the start, and the sort of preservation of your 13 gun. Was that your intentions? Did you want to preserve your 13 gun? And how did it feel when the enemy 13 gun went down somewhat earlier than I guess would have been anticipated?
Phenomenal, of course. It felt great. The Our strategy today was if you look at the map, it really looks like we have a very crappy starting position, right? You got that big stupid island
Yeah.
right in front of you. It makes you make a choice. That choice is glaringly obvious to your opponent. They get this beautiful channel that they have to go after. I don't even know if anybody's ever won from the side that we start with. It's a very hard place to start from. And so, but what we noticed about it is it's a castle. It's a fortress. It's a fortress that if you use it, it means that the enemy can't really cut behind you, because that pill-shaped island that comes out that you saw us put the back of our fleet to, it's our rear guard. So we were hoping that they were going to come at us filled with, fighting spirit and confidence, and that we were going to meet them out there in the middle, but we were going to have something that they didn't. We were going to have that guard at our rear. So we were prepared to give them the wind, understanding that that would give them, again, more confidence to rush towards us, knowing that, if we just got a little bit further out, they'd have a huge gap behind our line that they could cut across and hit us from. But then you saw us stop. And this was all the plan, is to stop there and then just have a fight with them. And in that fight was to use the discipline that we've been working on these last few weeks to win that cannon duel and really prove to ourselves that we could win that cannon duel. It was a very important thing that I wanted to face them squarely and see where the cards, let the cards fall where they may. And that was the plan, and it worked really well. And obviously, it's not easy to get a win over a team like the SCP, especially these days. They are something truly fierce. So we feel very fortunate, lucky, and like our hard work paid off on that.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to make a personal note that I ain't taking you ever in a line battle after watching that in that fight today. That was a truly, I want to say terrifying. It was a terrifying experience watching that gun, that 13 gun go down in, I think, almost record time. As soon as contact was made, it felt like it was gone very quickly soon afterwards. The discipline on those guns today were frightening levels of skill. But it's good to see that you guys are finding that form, I wouldn't say not again, because I think you've had it for most of the season, but maybe a
No, I
new
think you're right.
level, a new gear shift to
I think
it.
you're right.
Potentially.
We lost something over the season. We lost the fire. Um, you know, and the SCP's defeat, our defeat over from the SCP, it was, I think, it was in its own way kind of a blessing for us because it really shifted us back into focus for the end of the season. And I'd be honestly worried because that could have happened in the finals. And if it happened in the finals, that's the ball game.
I wish it
So
would have, but
I'm sure you do. I'm sure whoever makes it to the
yeah,
finals probably wishes they
yeah.
were facing the us of last week, but it really snapped us too. And I'm both grateful, and I don't mean this in a patronizing way. I'm so grateful that the SCP have become such a great team that they
Yeah.
whipped us last week, and they've really forced us to have a reckoning.
Yeah, speaking about the SCP-38, big commiserations, Muffin Top. I really enjoyed watching you guys spout it out today with Leviathans. I want to know, talk me through what happened during the game, your initial plan, and sort of your overview of what happened and what you could have done differently.
Yeah, so overall, to start with, it's the middle of the map was the going to be the engagement kind of zone. That was always the plan. Either Lamerck goes around the way he went with the wind, gets down relatively quickly, or he goes around the other side, and we try to once again meet in the middle somewhere. I said I wasn't looking at that pill shaped as a back defense. I was looking at it as a temporary stopgap of whoever can position there. We still have some options of maneuvering. Yeah, my
Yeah,
biggest problem was I didn't tell my 13 to wheel out quicker because I was trying to push them forward to get get distance, get closer because with the wind direction, getting closer to positioning. And then I misjudged kind of where X set up and where I kind of imagined the 13 to be. So he was a little bit more in line than I wanted him to be, but it happens. I tried to get him to pull out. I ordered, I was trying to set up a crossfire and it was nearly there. I had some good angles on his eights, I think. With
yeah,
two pointing west and the other two kind of pointing near front. And once he stopped, I ordered my eights to stop, wanted my 13 to get out, but it didn't happen. And then after that, it's like, well, I got to deal with that 13 somehow. So I'm going to try
yeah,
to get around behind in a position maybe where we can get in close, fight it out. We did get some space. We were a little spaced out, but it happens. And then I just kept calling out where to hit, keep my ships moving for as much as they can, and focusing down where they could, and just go down fighting.
yeah.
I will
That's
say
exactly what you did.
I will say we are not only just joined by Muffin today, we're also joined by Captain Lucky Lucius. How did it go from your guys' end? Were you captaining today? Were you on the 8 gun or anything like that today, Lucius? How was the match from your perspective as a, I don't know, crew member or a captain in this scenario? Talk to us about it.
Frankly, first off, I just want to say right now, scores 1-1. We still got one more to play, right?
Okay,
You
Still
better hope you
okay.
have one more to
scores
play
1-1.
against
You
us.
know,
You better hope.
you'll see. But on our end, I thought it went pretty well. Obviously, not the result that we wanted. Starting off, we had a solid game plan. Moving in, I feel like our the real deciding factor is that the 8 guns got separated towards the end after we made that left around the islands. We kind of got too spaced out while the X was more compact and more like a brick wall, and that's kind of what really brought us down in that. Uh, but in terms of that, we were getting lots of great shots, lots of great focusing. The crews were responding very well. Um, a significant amount of detonations, honestly. I'm not sure if anyone else noticed that, but there were a lot of detonations on the cannons this time around. And I think that just shows how competitive these guys are and how competitive the NSL is. Just because, I mean, like, this was like a blood match. Everyone here really headed out for the other team, and they really wanted to beat the other team, and it shows. I mean, my opponents talked about it in their speech. Muffin Top talked about it in his speech. Um, Everyone here really wanted it to win, and I really like that competitive nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we're huge for that. I've got two questions, and either of you can answer this, but I think it may need to be starting from Muffin Top here. So, just as a kind of idea from my own head, were you in the sky for this match, for this one, Muffin?
I was.
Okay, so you sort of you've been practicing that for a little bit. You would have, I guess, you would have seen the Leviathans led with the 4-8 guns and their 13 guns staggered. Did that at any point in your sort of mind tweak that something might have been a little bit different today? The idea of that 13 gun is not going to take as much flack as your last match did. I think you managed to, you both sort of went to about like a quarter off full health each time in the last match that you guys played, and then when you guys got to the wall, it sort of went down to half, I think, in each side between the two 13s, and then down to eventually someone got the killing blow. This match, Lemerck was not letting your guys getting anywhere near his 13. He's like, you guys can take, Atticus and the rest of my 8 guns, but you ain't touching me. So first off, did that sort of raise any alarm bells to you from the first off? And I guess my second question is, after the initial sort of initial combat that you faced, where you guys then went in around the island to try and come back in, your two lead ships, I think they might have taken quite a sort of substantial amount of damage after the initial sort of trade-off. You guys then sort of turned them in and let, I suppose, the remaining Leviathan ships at this point sort of have a surrounding presence on your guys' ship. How did that sort of, was that in that scenario you looked at and go, okay, this is not the best scenario for us? Did you have a plan to try and get out of it? What was your thinking? I know it's a twofold question, but
So the first part was not really. For the first part, it was I told my gunners or I told the crews is, hey, we're probably not going to get their 13 gun. It's for both matches, their last one and then this one. I was just like, we're probably not going to get their 13 gun into a position to hit them at the beginning. We're just going to focus down their 8s to create that opening. So then offset, I was just like, that's cool. I was thinking they might just be in a position where they have it's a little bit more difficult gunnery on their position on their side. A little bit, probably not much. It's just a view thing. But it was just like, okay, we're gonna focus on their 8s, ignore the 13 until we can come at it again. That was at the beginning, and then afterwards, I told my guys that like charge down, because at the end of the day, we have to get within range of the 13 to bring it down either way. So I was hoping that I could get at least 2 of the 8s in close, do some good damage while the other 2, but then seeing it was in a kind of a bad spot and his 8s were kind of separated enough to where, okay, we'll swap back to those rear 8s. I kind of I know that my 2 forward 8s, they were going to go down either way, but wanted to get in close to get an attack angle on that 13, because and I didn't want them to kind of regroup close enough together. Felt like they were spread out just enough to where I could have ships just do as much damage as we could.
huge. I'm glad. Anything from Kieran's? Anything you wanna give to the any question you want to pass on to Lucius or to Muffin here?
No, I think you both sort of answered my questions. I mean, I could talk a long time about this match. It was fantastic to watch, and really well done to both admirals and all the captains involved.
I suppose this sort of then leads into what we've got to enjoy for the rest of the season, which is, I believe, do we have is it a bye week next week, Lemerck? Or are we still
Let
going
me
next week?
let me
No,
take a
I
quick
think it's
look.
it's the Marines and the RBF, and then
Oh,
it's
so we
Yeah,
us.
have
yeah.
It's
yeah,
SCP and Krakens.
so we have Karen's in next week. So
Mhm.
I guess my question now is to you, Karen, my co-host. What are we looking forward to seeing next week in regards to this match? This is going to be a match for, I suppose, to try and highlight the end of the season for both teams here. We've got the
Yeah,
SC, we got this, sorry, not the SCP, the RBF, the Royal Black Fleet here. 1 win extra for you. I suppose a little bit different in terms of the points gap. What are you looking to get out of this? You want to try and end the season on the high, I hope, right?
I definitely, not just in terms of points or a victory or whatever, but more just really ending it with a win. As Lemerck said, this is really the last of an era for not just Holdfast Naval, but also for the NSL in general, because next season we'll be opening it up to console players as well, and that really is going to be fantastic. But in terms of our battle next week with the RBF, it's going to be great, and I will say, I'm going to say this very boldly. Forget every match you've watched throughout the NSL. This is the one to watch, and yeah,
Ooh.
I think you guys are going to really enjoy it.
I mean, I like words like that. I like to hear something new, something exciting, something bold. It looks like that's what we've been promised. So whoever's casting that next week, I am
Absolutely.
always going to be tuning in for it, as always. And then following that match, it's deciding who gets to stay in second place. It's going to be between me and Muffin Top. So I'm gonna take myself out of the host role here, Lamerck. I'm gonna pass the crown for you just for a little bit.
Yes, please,
What questions
gentlemen,
do you have
let's
for
talk.
us?
Let's talk about what's coming on. So
Okay.
let me ask this. I'll ask this if you don't mind me stepping in here a little bit. So Muffin Top, what are we thinking when it comes to that next game? You know, tell us what the stakes are for you guys.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go out after the last match of the main season, we're gonna go out with a bang.
All right. Well, Percy, what do we expect from you guys?
I mean, I suppose we're gonna try and see something that we as the KRA, the Krakens always try to do, which is we try to make sure that we give as neutral of a face as possible when it comes to the match. And when we see our opponents try to do something, we strike while the iron's hot to disrupt them and confuse them. That's what we've
Says-
tried to do for most of the season. It's worked quite well against most other teams. It worked last time against the SCP. We had that pretty slow match, but then when it came to that last 5 minutes, where I know Lemerck, you were a little bit in. I suppose not maybe the word incensed by it, but
I don't know what
I'm
you're
not
talking about.
say, I'm not saying I'm looking to go in with a quiet, sort of whimper or anything like that. But I want to make sure that when we do have that moment, which we always seem to find somewhere along the way, except for maybe against the likes of yourselves, we find that one moment that if we do strike, we strike hard with the full force of the mighty Krakens, and we hope to come out with second place by the end of it.
What is it? What is it they say when two masters meet on the road, neither moves? That's what we're going to see there. Just the two of you staring at each other from across the sea, waiting for a
Who
sign of
knows?
weakness in one another.
The Colosseum does create all sorts of weird and awkward scenarios, I must admit. But I suppose it's going to be my thoughts coming into it. It's going to be, I suppose, how Muffin Top has said against you guys for most of the season. It's going to come down to the gunnery. It's going to come down to who's going to be hottest on the day. And I hope that if he comes in range of my guns, he'll know.
Very well said.
I
Very
love how
well
I've
said.
started a meme format.
It's a great. Honestly, it was a great line. I was like, wow, I just got my ass kicked, and he stunted on me with that fucking perfect line. So yeah, I applaud you. No, for me, third party perspective, like you asked, like what am I looking for? Again, I feel like I know what the Krakens are about. You guys are a consistent danger always, and that consistency has maintained throughout the season. Right? I have not watched battles where you guys were fighting where you guys did not have that professional organization. The thing for the SCP is I have watched battles in the beginning where they didn't have it, and now again, like we're talking about who we're fighting now, who they are this moment, this day, and it is that I don't think that's who you fought before, and I think it's a whole new animal, a very strong and very dangerous animal that when the cards fall the way that they want them to fall, they have some of the best cannoneers. I mean, you can see it. You can see the leaderboard. So,
Absolutely.
You know, it really is. I see this as an anybody's game. This top half of the bracket has become shockingly competitive and exciting over these last few weeks in ways that I'm not sure I would have expected at the beginning of the season. And these finals are going to be so good.
I'm really excited for it. I'm not just saying this because obviously I help out and stuff, but I've really enjoyed this season. It's been a long one for sure, 100%. And I know that from just from the KRN side and so the Krakens, we have only swelled with number and vigor and wanting to compete week in, week out, and seeing our numbers. I think our last match when we placed against the Marines, we didn't have any mercenaries at all. So we've gone from, sitting around 25, 30 mark at the start of the season to now fielding our full team of people internally in-house. It's a nice feeling to see from our end. And I think it gives an advantage that possibly a lot of teams don't even, realize in some ways. It does mean, though, obviously, you've got the likes of facing down against Spicy Paper. I mean, we're going to see him anyway, but then, Icy on the same team as well.
Right.
It's always a unique experience to face. But I think anytime we play, we always face against the best of the league and the team as well that they're also playing, who are bringing their best and everything like that. So it's a really nice position to be in. It always adds the extra stakes and pressure on my team in terms of how we at the Krakens handle our preparations. But no, we love it and we're excited for it.
And
Yeah.
nothing could be. I mean, that's what are we all here for? Of course, the competition and of course winning and losing and all that. But what we're really here for is to give a lot of people a lot of fun, whether they're watching or they're playing, to give everybody something to get really motivated to get on this game for and play. So if that's what's happened in your organization, that's the best compliment that this league can get. And I hope everybody's feeling that way. They're excited for next season, and they're excited to see this season continue. So I'm so excited. I'm personally excited. I hope everybody else is. All
Absolutely.
right, let me pass my hat back over to you guys. Thank you for letting me host for a little bit.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Carons, do you have any departing words for the broadcast? Because obviously, as you know, you're fighting next week. Have you got anything you wish to say, apart from what you already have to our viewers, or anything about the game, or how you've enjoyed, co-hosting with me today? Because it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been fantastic, and I'm hoping in the future, even for next season, I get the opportunity to do it again. We are, like I said, we are going to be really doubling down on our attendance for the NSL next season, and yeah, the next bout is really going to be fantastic. I encourage every mercenary watching to sign up, get your names on there, because if you want points, that's the next game is where you're going to be getting those points. I'm hyping it up for a reason. I'm not going to reveal too much, but it's going to be great.
Well, I'm
Yeah, but
excited to
thank you.
hear it,
Bless it.
and I think everyone is going to be excited to hear it as well when it comes into that match next week. And I guess in regards to everything, that is our broadcast for today. I want to thank everybody who's involved with the league, from Gunnar, who does the sort of organizing behind the scenes, Atticus, who helped out, everyone from Leviathans who came up with the idea and helped brought this together, Lemerck, obviously, who leads the league. We've got Doc behind the scenes doing our broadcasts. We've got the likes of today, Piet, we've had Chewy, everyone here. We've also had Liam as well from the first RM come along to help out with all your camera angles today, and everyone at home who watches. And obviously today, our lovely admirals. Obviously, we've got my co-host as well, but our lovely admirals, Lemerck, Muffin, and of course we have Lucius in as well for this amazing broadcast. I've been Percival Plod. You've watched the NSL, and we'll see you next week for the match between the RBF and the Marines.